With the Crown Tundra finally out, we can now look at the full extent of Pokemon Sword and Shield. And now we have a completed Galar region, unless there's another DLC on the way. More importantly, I can now take a full look at the DLC and give it a grade. Hello everyone and welcome to my secret base. My name is Edster and today I'm grading the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC. I will grade each DLC based on the story, the map, and the Pokemon added. I will also be assigning a regular grade from F through A+. Let's get started. Let's begin with the first part of the DLC, the Isle of Armor. Please note that there are some spoilers ahead. I actually enjoyed the Isle of Armor story. When you first arrive at the station, you meet your new rival, Clara or Avery, depending on which version of the game you have. After a quick battle, you join the Master Dojo. There, you meet the Dojo Master, Mustard, and also his wife, Honey. And you start some trials in order to get the dojo's armor. There's 3 trials. The first trial involves chasing and defeating 3 very fast slowpokes. The second involves finding max mushrooms. And the last trial is a battle against your new rival. Then you finally get the armor. And what is the armor? The very adorable Kupfu. From there, you work on increasing your friendship with Kupfu and to eventually evolve him into Urshifu. Your choice of half water or half dark depends on which tower you choose to train him in. The last part of the story is about finding some mushrooms to make a soup to make Urshifu Gigantamax. You then battle Mustard, who is revealed to be the former champion of Galar. After you beat him, the story ends. Aside from that, the most notable side quest was finding the Alola Diglets, which are scattered around the island. The person who asks you to find them gives you an Alolan Pokemon after you reach a certain amount of Diglets. I give the story a C. This was a really fun experience, though it felt too short for many people's likings, and I have to agree with them. They could have done so much more with the characters, especially Mustard, who could have given us more background on his time as champion. For the side quest, the Diglets one was my favorite by far, and was actually the first thing I did on this DLC. The side quest about improving the dojo was okay, but the reward just wasn't worth it. You get a tease about battling a trainer from another region, and then you don't really do that, you just battle Honey, which, nothing against her, but that tease just didn't feel right. I really like the map for the Isle of Armor, featuring mostly grass and water, but every single part of the map felt not only unique, but like it had its own identity. It just felt like I just went to another map within the map. The 2 towers where you train Kupfu are very aesthetically pleasing, though I wish you didn't have to choose just one of them, and also that after you're done with the towers, they're kind of just there. I give the map for this DLC a solid A. Like I said, it's a fun map with a lot of personality that just makes you want to revisit it occasionally to make sure that you didn't miss anything. They could have done more with it, but they went for simple and it worked wonderfully. This DLC added 3 new Pokemon: Kupfu, Urshifu, which came in 2 forms, and Sarut. It also introduced Galarian Slowpoke and Galarian Slowbro. It also marked the return of some older Pokemon to the decks, such as Blissey, Klefki, Luxray, Alakazam, etc. Lastly, it also introduced Gigantamax forms for Venusaur, Blastoise, and the 3 final forms of the Galarian starters. This gets an A for me. Kupfu, who I found absolutely adorable, wasn't just a Pokemon that was added and that's it. Kupfu was a big part of the story. Also, even though Slowpoke wasn't a big part of the story, it also felt very important due to the marketing behind it as well. The Pokemon added were also a huge up, as the limited dex was a big issue when the game first came out. Before we get to the Crown Tundra, just take a few seconds to like, subscribe, and to turn on those notifications. Okay, are you done? Let's continue. The Crown Tundra is the second part of the Pokemon DLC, and it just came out. Or if you're watching in the future, it came out on October 23rd, 2020. Spoilers ahead. The story for the Crown Tundra is more straightforward, but more fun in my opinion. When you arrive at the Crown Tundra, you encounter Peony and his daughter Peonia. They are arguing because she wants to have her own adventure without her dad. So, you battle him, and she escapes during the battle. Now you're stuck with Peony, and the first part is the quest of bringing together the legendary Pokemon Calyrex, which involves you finding the Pokemon and then his loyal steed. You have to plant some carrot seeds in order to draw out the steed, and the steed will be either ghost or ice depending on where you plant those seeds. Once they unite, you can catch them both together. The next part involves the Regis. You have to go to each of their temples and match the required criteria to enter those temples. Once they are all caught, you can go and catch either Regidrago or Regieleki in the Split Decisions ruins. The last part of the main story involves the legendary birds, which you first encounter in the Dynama Tree Hill. After this, they split up across Galar. Catching all three of them ends the main story with Peony. This DLC included more side quests than the Isle of Armor. One of this involves tracking the footprints of the Source of Justice across the Crown Tundra. After all three have been caught, you actually have a shot at catching Keldeo. There is also the Max Lair, which allows you to team up with either NPCs, I don't recommend that, or people from all over the world to battle and catch Dynamax Pokemon. Each time you go to the lair, there will be a legendary Pokemon at the end waiting for you. I enjoyed the story here much more than the Isle of Armor, simply because it went straight to the point, but it also gave us more tasks to do. Having to locate and catch the legendary Pokemon here made it feel as if we were in a real excursion, and it didn't feel like it dragged on. I thought it was a better version of the Diglett side quest. The Max Lair really took advantage of the Dynamax gimmick and made it really fun. One thing I didn't mention was the Galar Star Tournament, which isn't too special, but is also pretty enjoyable. So because of this, the Crown Tundra story gets a solid A+ in my opinion. The Crown Tundra's map feels a bit smaller than that of the Isle of Armor, but that doesn't make it a bad thing, because once you're in it, it actually feels pretty big. I'm probably not alone here, but I got lost a few times trying to find the snow slide slope. The map is mostly composed of snowfields and grass with minor bodies of water around the area. One of my favorite things about the map that I will elaborate in my next point is the overabundance of fossil Pokemon. They are everywhere, and because of that, this map gets an A. I don't know why, but I actually just love exploring this map especially. I spend hours just walking around, just looking at things. They did a really good job here, considering that the map is probably smaller than the Isle of Armor. This part of the DLC introduced us to 5 new Pokemon, as well as new forms for the legendary birds, Slowking, and 2 forms of the new legendary Pokemon Calyrex. It also brought back even more Pokemon that weren't on the initial decks, like my favorite Pokemon, Salamence. They also brought in Garchomp, the Hoenn starters, and the Ultra Beast, etc. As well as a lot of fossil Pokemon, which you can find once again walking around the entire place. This part of the Crown Tundra also gets an A. It expanded the decks so much and found such a creative and fun way for you to find and catch those old legendary Pokemon with the Max Lair. My final thoughts and grade for the Pokemon DLC is a B+. It is mostly dragged down by how short the Olive Armor felt, though the case could be made for both of them being too short. Though, the Crown Tundra's side quests make it feel longer and more rewarding than that of the Olive Armor. As I mentioned, this was their first go at a DLC, and it's a learning curve. And I think that in the future, we will see longer DLCs with more polished stories. I'm happy with what was delivered, and I'm pretty excited for what's to come. Well, that is all for this week. What did you think of the Pokemon DLC? Did you wish that they were longer? Let me know in the comments below. While you're here, why not check out some of my other content on the screen right now? Lastly, if you like this video, give it a share and like me on Facebook. The link is in the description of all my videos. See ya!